Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with a Celtic Cross Tarot Spread walkthrough. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't really like using the Celtic Cross. It's not that I haven't in the past. I actually used to use them quite a bit whenever I was first learning tarot. Because way back in the day, there really wasn't as much like information that you could really find. It was a little bit more, again, kind of occult, esoteric. And so back in like the 90s, I had bought like the universal weight tarot deck. It came with like a little white book, and then a big fold out, like I don't even know, like a placemat sort of thing, but it had the actual like Celtic Cross spread on there, and you could actually use that to kind of put your cards on. I have always found it a little bit overwhelming, to be quite honest. I think it's challenging whenever you're first starting out to try to read 10 cards all at once, especially if you have one kind of theme that you're wanting to focus on. It can be a little bit challenging, but I'm going to kind of talk about the spread because I feel like because it is so well known and beloved, it can be a great tool to master, especially when you are utilizing it within your tarot practice. And again, I haven't used one in forever. I'm going to be sampling, or not sampling, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm going to be using the Learning Tarot Cards deck to kind of demonstrate how this will look. So, and hopefully I'll have enough space to do all 10 cards right here. I may have to move some stuff out of the way. So I'm like, all right, let me move some stuff so we have some room. Okay. All right. So the Celtic Cross, it's one of these things, and I don't even know if it has any kind of Celtic roots or anything. I never really looked into it too much. So I'm not even sure if it actually has like a Celtic background. If it comes from anything like that, maybe that's just what it was called. Who knows? I mean, honestly, with everything, especially tarot, you just never know. You just never know who started what, who did what. Maybe they just called it that, and that's just what it's called now. So it is a 10 card spread. And one of the ways that I would use this, especially as someone that maybe struggles a little bit with too many cards, is you could always break it up. You can do like the first 6 cards, or maybe even just like the first few cards and then kind of go that way. But I'm going to do the entire spread and kind of show you what that looks like. And maybe I should have used a smaller deck, but we're going to do this one. Okay, so the first card is going to be what's kind of covering you. It's going to be, the first one. Hold on. So I can't even talk today. All right. The first card is going to be you. So it's like, so you can really see what's going on for you, what's directly influencing your question. I don't really have a question, but I will just pull some cards. So here I have the 10 of Swords reversed. Okay. We're going to put that little guy down first. And then card number 2 is going to be the card that crosses you. This is going to show you the influences that are moving in and out of your life and have been, and that have bearing on the outcome. So this may be something that's influencing the current outcome. So we have the 2 of Cups here, and we're going to put that across. That's usually what you do. Next to that, we're going to do the card that's under. So this is going to be like the base of your situation, like what's the root of the story. So like what influence is under you. So here I have the King of Wands reversed. I think I'm going to run out of room. We'll see. We'll see how this works with these cards. Card number 4 is going to be the influences of the past. So this is going to go on this side. And here we have the Knight of Cups reversed. And then card number 5 is going to go above. So this is what's crowning you, what's directly influencing you, and what blessings you can hold on to. So here we have the 9 of Swords. I don't know how that's, okay. Hopefully we can kind of see what we have going on here. All right, so then we're going to have the influence that's coming your way. So this is going to be card number 6. So you could just kind of break this up and just have this be what it is. So here we have the moon. Okay. Now over here, we're going to do what is also known as like the pillar. So here we're going to have card number 7, which is you right now in the present, the youest you. So here we have I think the 7 of Swords reverse. I'm not really liking this reading so far. All right. And then you through other people's eyes. So maybe how other people perceive you. Here we have strength. And then we have, I'm going to run out of room. Let me just move some of this stuff out of the way. Your hopes and your fears is going to be number 9. So here we have the 6 of Swords reverse. Lots of Swords reverse today. And then finally, card number 10, the final outcome and the most likely result is going to be the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, pretty large, right? I probably should have used a slightly smaller deck, but we're just going to go with it. So definitely, if you are doing this, you're going to need quite a bit of room on your table or whatever you're reading on. Let me see if I can like pan out a little bit without having everything look too crazy. All right. Okay. So as we begin, the very first card is going to be the one under, right? And this is card number 1. So here we have the card that's essentially covering you, what's going on for you, what's directly influencing the question. I didn't have a specific question because this is just like an example. So here this is talking about escaping ruin, pulling yourself together, learning from past hardships, fears coming true. And so it's still a card of endings and defeat. So if you were to kind of see how this applies to you yourself as an individual, you can be like, you know, have I been overcoming certain issues? Have I been trying to learn from my past mistakes? Have I been focusing on, you know, like pulling myself together in some ways? And I would say this is pretty accurate for what I've been currently experiencing. All right, so card number 2, this is the card that crosses you. So this is going to show you the influences that are moving in and out of your life that have a bearing on the outcome. So here we have the 2 of Cups. I'm going to read this as upright. That's just what I'm feeling at the current moment. So this is all about partnership, unity, love, compatibility, you know, things like that. So while I may feel like a lot of things haven't really been coming together, maybe I have a lot of supportive relationships around me where I have a lot of mutual respect, equality, harmony, and balance to kind of help me feel a little bit more supported in my current situation. So card number 3 is going to be what is kind of like underneath the, or like the base of the situation. It's going to be like the root. And here we have, you know, what's at the root of the story. So here we have the King of Wands reverse. And so this can talk about lies, prejudice, some sort of liar or devious person, self-promotion. Not to get too into it, but I do feel like some of the things that happened to me at the end of 2024 had to do a lot with someone that would maybe fall under this category. And I'm still kind of processing how that makes me feel about my circumstances and what I've experienced. So it does apply, but I don't want to get into it too much because this isn't a reading about me. This is me kind of showing you what a Celtic cross will look like. All right, so let's move on to card number 4. So here we go. This is going to be like the past that's influencing us. So here we have the Knight of Cups. And so there's illusion, escapism, someone with a fragile sense of identity and poor personal boundaries. Not to tattle on myself too much. That is something I do tend to struggle with a little bit. I do like to say I have strong boundaries in certain situations, but certain circumstances always make me forget that aspect of myself. And so I do feel like that is something that has really influenced some of the other things going on in my life and what I have going on. And so there's a little bit of that illusion, that escapism, that like, wishful thinking and not really active, like going after what I need to be doing. So card number 5 is going to be above, right? So this is going to be what's crowning us, what's directly influencing you, and what blessings you can hold on to. So here we have the 9 of Swords reverse, and this is the light at the end of the tunnel, recovering, improving, letting go of negativity and stress. So that is something I have really been focusing on. Not always easy when you're a little bit of an overanalyzer, overthinker. So it's this was not supposed to be a reading about me, but I guess we're just doing that today. All right. So moving on to card number 6. And again, this is going to be the influence that's coming our way, because this is kind of like what we're facing, right? So here we have intuition, illusions, dreams, instability, deception, anxiety, fear, misconceptions, insecurity, past conditioning, affects behavior. Things are not what they seem. So that is the one thing with the Celtic Cross. Sometimes when we're using a very kind of like structured spread, that can be a little bit challenging when you're starting to learn how to read, because it seems like, okay, we're moving in this direction, and then it's like, bam, we get a card that's a little bit more challenging, like the moon. Can talk about, these things that are a little bit challenging. So the path may not be clear, but my intuition lights the way one step at a time. So I'm going to focus more on this kind of message with this, because that feels like that goes better with the rhythm of the whole reading. Now, I'm not sitting here to say like every reading needs to be positive, and there's never going to be a reading that is going to foretell or kind of initiate the beginning of the understanding that things are not always going to work out the way that we had intended. But it can be a little bit challenging when you're like, if this is what I'm supposed to be like looking towards, and this is the influence that's coming my way, where it is maybe like, misconceptions and fear and this and that and the other, it can make someone pull back a little bit. And I'm not trying to do that. I never want to do that as someone that reads for others. And I definitely don't want to do that as someone that tries to do readings for herself. This is knowledge, is kind of how I look at this. It's like, okay, maybe I need to be understanding of, I may not always see things quite so clearly, but if I start to trust my intuition and kind of move into that energy a little bit more, that's what's going to help me be able to move past the fears, to really understand that some of the things I'm processing or currently experiencing are still a vital part of my journey, because the moon is still a major card. So I do think, especially this being the first major of the cards that I've pulled so far, this is going to be important and significant, and something I would want to kind of look at, within myself, because sometimes our intuition isn't always going to be correct, or we're not always going to listen to it because maybe it feels uncomfortable, or maybe it's a little bit challenging. And I am someone that does struggle with a lot of insecurities, and do have like past conditioning that does truly affect how I behave in the present. So it is nice to have a little bit of that acknowledgement as well, without being like too stuck on the more negative aspects. And I feel like to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So now I can just be more watchful, more mindful, to not be kind of carried away by other people's stuff. So just a little note, personal note for me as someone that does readings. And I know having all these cards can feel very like confusing, because sometimes those messages are going to be conflicting and not really make sense. All right, so card number 7, this is going to be you right now in the present, or the U.S. you. So here I have the 7 of Swords reversed. This is like confessing, coming clean, turning over a new leaf, consciousness kicking in. I'm not really getting how this would have anything to do with me. So I'm not sure if maybe I will experience other people being a little bit more honest with me or whatever. I don't know. So this is why it's a little challenging. But if you ever feel like this doesn't feel like this is where it's supposed to be. Maybe this is just an extra message. So I would pull another card. And that's kind of what feels right for me right now. And that's a big thing of like your intuition, is to kind of like move into this energy. So here, this makes a little bit more sense. Lots of swords. So here I have the Knight of Swords reversed. And so this is the youest me. It's missed opportunities, out of control, someone who opposes and upsets your plans. So this can maybe be like what I've been feeling, kind of where I'm at, is maybe feeling like things are not really moving quite the way that I want them to. And so it can feel a little bit challenging. It's funny because this is like the third time I keep seeing missed opportunities and things like that for my message of the day. So maybe this is what I need to kind of be aware of, to not miss out on certain opportunities out of my own fear, or out of like wanting to control everything, because that is something I do tend to do. I am a Taurus. Okay, so moving on to card number 8. This is you through others' eyes. So this may be how other people perceive me. Someone that has a lot of strength. We have strength begins with the choice to be kind to myself, as a really nice reminder. Another major card. And it's funny because I am a Leo rising, so it is kind of funny to have like a Leo based card in my spread here. And so this can just talk about overcoming self-doubt, focusing, influencing, taming the beast within, harnessing instinctive desires, like really using courage and bravery. I recently started my own, another small business. And it's been very, very busy, and it's been a little bit crazy. So I'm getting like both of these energies, because I am having to skip over certain opportunities because I am only one person. And I feel a little bit like I want to move at a faster pace with things, but it's also a lot of hesitation because it is still very new. But I feel like other people kind of perceive me as like, oh, you really took something that could have derailed you completely and turned it around into something else, without really understanding how challenging it was to move into that energy, and like how hard it is to actually do what I am doing now. Moving on to card number 9. These are your hopes and fears. So another swords card. So trouble coming, maybe out of the frying pan into the fire, lack of progress. So here is my hopes and my fears, which is true. I do feel like the transition, while I do like changes and shifts and momentum and movement, I am kind of feeling like maybe there's a different set of challenges that may arise. I feel like maybe I'm not going to be able to make as much progress as I would like. And so I think that this makes sense, like where it's like I'm wanting to I'm very much in my head about things. And as you can tell, there's a lot of swords here. So we're obviously very much in the head about different things. And then finally, the final outcome and the most likely result is the 6 of Pentacles, which is a card of generosity and gifts, charity, assistance, community, supporting, employment, things like that. That is something I'm trying to work towards, and feeling very valued, having a sense of gratitude, being well paid for the work that I do. And so I think that is very nice to kind of see, especially after seeing all of these cards. Now, one of the things with the Celtic Cross is I like to look at the patterns, or any kind of spread that I do. I like to look, how many cards of whatever do we have. So here I'm only seeing 2 major cards. So seeing that it's the strength card and then the moon. So those 2, there's the number 8s as well involved in those cards. So I feel like this can talk about maybe our foundation, feeling like we're at a little bit of a crossroads in some ways. Maybe we feel like we're having to kind of focus a little bit more on our stability, long-term, things like that, which makes sense for my situation. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 swords cards, 5 if we include the extra one that kind of popped out. So obviously there's a lot going on with the mental kind of element of things, whether it's the overthinking, maybe it's communication, maybe it's something to do with feeling empowered or a sense of justice and balance. This could also be a reminder that maybe we're too focused on the anxious kind of thoughts versus, kind of getting out there and moving with things. I feel like swords really are related to winter in my mind. You don't have to think of it that way, but to me, this is like, okay, this winter may be very significant as far as like how things are going to go, which is kind of how things have begun for me. It's been very winter focused in the sense of that is when things really started to take off for me and really started to become a little bit more established. All right, so we have 2 cups cards. So to me, that would signify that maybe I need to also look at like the intuition, the emotions, especially having the moon here. I feel like it is very much this energy of paying a little bit of attention to how I am connecting with others, as well as like, am I being supported in different ways? Things of that nature. With having the knights, we have 1, 2, and then we have the king. So we have, this was a 10. All right, so we have 3 court cards. So again, I may have to pay attention to some of the people that are showing up in my life to kind of help me with different things. And what this looks like for, the long term, so to speak. Like, how can we kind of put all of this together? So I feel like maybe I need to look at some of the people I'm surrounding myself with. Maybe because a lot of these are reverses, maybe these are different aspects of myself that I need to kind of pay attention to. Maybe the divine masculine is a little bit out of balance. Maybe I'm not letting myself kind of be a little bit more forthcoming about what I'm willing to kind of fight for and go out into the world for, especially with the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Cups. Is maybe I needed to kind of tune in a little bit more to my creativity, be a little bit more mindful of my truth. So I'm not seeing any other Pentacles cards. There's only the 1 Wands. And so again, I feel like overall this reading is more self-focused on what is going on in my head and what I have going on with that. So again, this is nice, but I feel like you can really go into it really, really in depth. You can spend a lot of time kind of focusing and looking at what this means for you, what this would feel like for you long term. Again, maybe it's a sense of I like more of a quickness and a shorter story, or maybe just a little bit more of an intuitive process. I feel like it's a little bit clunky, but it is nice because, this is still giving me a lot of information for me to focus on and to kind of process as I kind of see what this looks like for me moving forward. And I will, I guess, have this video up for me to reflect on once I've gone through what life is trying to put me through at the current moment. So let me know what you guys think of the Celtic Cross. Is it one that you use a lot? Do you usually pull clarifying cards? That is something I do not mind doing. Is I always tell people, I'm like, if something's confusing, pull a clarifier. Don't be afraid to pull more cards. Don't be afraid to start over again and kind of see what that looks like for you. But let me know if you guys are someone that uses the Celtic Cross really often in your practice. Is it something that maybe whenever you first started that you really did use quite a bit and now you have found other spreads that you really enjoy? Are there other spreads that you're curious about or, consistently use in your practice? Please let me know. I always love learning a new good spread and kind of sharing that with others. So I hope you guys have a good one. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.